Before delving into the examination of Greater Turan, it's better to become acquainted with the term Turan. Turan is the name of a region located in the Central Asia and is the habitat of people belonging to this ethnic group. According to Joseph Marquardt, a German historian and Orientalist, Turan is a term of Iranian origin, and Turanians are recognized as one of the ancient Iranian tribes in the Avestan era. The main distinction between them and Iranians was that Iranians gradually became urbanized and engaged in agriculture, while Turanians remained nomadic, dwelling in tents and wandering in deserts. However, there are varied opinions about the origin of Turan. Nevertheless, the crucial point is that in the current era, Turan encompasses countries with the majority of Turkic ethnicities and populations. This forms the basis for the idea of establishing a union of Turkic and Greater Turan countries by Erdogan. The oldest term associated with Turan can be found in the Farvardin Yashts of the Avesta, religious texts in Avestan language. The Avesta mentions the names of different peoples and tribes living together, including Arias or Aryans and Tuirias or Turanians. Turanians always had relentless wars with Iranians. Geography of Turan. Turan can also be defined based on the map of Iran and Turan, drawn during the Qajar dynasty in 1843. It includes parts of today's Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, northern Afghanistan, and northern Pakistan. If we consider a specific boundary for Turan, it can be limited from Takharistan in the south, Khwarazm in the north, Khorasan in the west, and Mughalistan in the east. Some of the regions mentioned in Turan include Khwarazm, Bukhara with Balkh, Shehersebz near Bukhara, Hisar, Kokand, Durvas, Karategin, Kunduz, Kafiristan, Chitral, Gilgit, Iskardu, the northern steppes, Kazakhstan. What is Greater Turan? Greater Turan is a term that has been used in the past few decades, particularly by Turkey and Erdogan. It refers to a hypothetical entity that would encompass territories with Turkic populations. This area would stretch from Turkey to Central Asia and even parts of China and Siberia. Where did the idea of Greater Turan come from? The idea of Greater Turan can be traced back to the political movement of Pan-Turkism, which originated in the 1880s among Turkic intellectuals living under Russian rule at the time in the Kazan and Caucasus regions. This movement was founded by Ziya Gökalp with the aim of uniting all Turkic peoples. It is also worth mentioning that in 1923, Ziya Gökalp declared Turan to be the goal of Turkism. The formation of Greater Turan is based on pseudo-scientific claims that are built on biological and linguistic links between different ethnic groups in Eurasia. One of these claims is the Ural-Altaic language family, which posits that the Turkic, Mongolian, Tungusic, and Uralic, sometimes Korean, peoples have Central and Inner Asian origins, and thus are culturally, linguistically, and ethnically related. Although the scientific theories underlying this concept have been questioned or rejected in contemporary research, Turanism still enjoys widespread support in some Turkic-speaking countries. Some key points about Greater Turan. It is a controversial concept, with some seeing it as a harmless cultural movement and others viewing it as a dangerous irredentist ideology. The term Turan has been used in different ways throughout history, and its exact meaning is still debated. The idea of Greater Turan has been used by some Turkish politicians to justify expansionist policies. There is no consensus on whether or not Greater Turan is a realistic or achievable goal. Which countries would be included in Greater Turan? Let's now look at the countries that would be included in the idea of Greater Turan. There are two maps that can be referenced here. The first shows the countries that are members of the Organization of Turkic States, which could be included in Greater Turan. The second shows the Turkic-speaking countries, which encompasses a larger scale and population. In the first case, there are 7 countries: Turkey, Azerbaijan, Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Northern Cyprus, Turkmenistan, and Uzbekistan. With the exception of Turkey, all of these countries are located in Asia and have a total population of about 164.9 million people. If these countries were to unite, they would have an area of approximately 4,535,000 square kilometers, This would make Greater Turan the seventh largest country in the world after Australia. Based on Gross Domestic Product, GDP 2024 IMF, the combined GDP of these countries can be estimated at 1931 billion USD, which would rank 12th in the world. The second case can be seen in the map below, which shows the regions that are Turkic-speaking. There are no precise statistics on the number of Turkic speakers, but according to Wikipedia, there are about 200 million speakers of the Turkic language family worldwide, including countries such as Russia, Iran, China, Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and others. What countries and why are they worried about the idea of the formation of the Great Turan? In order to have a deeper view of the issue of the formation of the Great Turan, it is better to consider the opinions and concerns of other countries. This can help us in the challenges and reality of this issue. Russia. Undoubtedly, Russia can be considered the first country that can be concerned with the formation of Turan. The reason for this issue can be summarized in several cases, the most important of which are the weakening of the integrity of the countries in Russia's sphere of influence. One of the most important reasons for Russia's concern is the political threats that this union poses to the countries under Russian influence and their integrity. If we consider all branches of the Turkish nation, it is estimated that around 10–13 million Turks, equivalent to 8 to 10% of the population of this country, are Turks. The prosperity of Turkish countries in OTS can increase the possibility of increasing the issue of secession by the national territorial entities in Russia. Reducing influence on Central Asia. Although more than 30 years have passed since the independence of the Central Asian countries, many think that they are still considered to be part of the backyard of Russia. Although this issue is not as strong as before, Russia still has exclusive influence in this region. Undoubtedly, the formation of unions and activities that reduce the independence and dependence of these countries on Russia will lead to the reduction of Russia's influence on this region. It is possible that the creation of this union to strike Russia and China, especially after the Ukraine war and the weakening of Russia and the increase of tension with China, is a significant issue for the United States. China. Like Russia, about 0.8% of China's population is made up of Turks. An estimated 11 to 12 million Turks, mostly Uyghurs with a population of 11.5 million, live in China. Since they live in the northwest of China and close to the Turkish Union, and due to religious commonalities and pressures from the government, the sense of separatism and the creation of Turkish national liberation movements increases. It is interesting to know that in order to prevent this incident, China has invested in relatively young Turkish countries and made them self-reliant. Another regional competitor in front of Turkish countries is Iran, and two important reasons can be stated about this country: increasing the possibility of disintegration and the sense of separatism in the northwest of Iran. It is estimated that more than 15–20 million Turks live in Iran, which is equivalent to 23 to 17% of the country's population of 85 million. One of the political phenomena in recent decades of Iran, which has intensified again during the Nagorno-Karabakh conflict, is Iranian pan-Turkism. This issue, which is mostly supported by the Soviet countries in the past, Turkey, Azerbaijan, and probably Israel lately, has increased the discussions of the pan-Turkish separatists. The creation of a Turkish union can increase the risk of separatism, increased border tensions, and further differences between these countries and Iran. Deviation of the Silk Road. Silk Road is one of the Eurasian trade routes that dates back to 114 BC. The main route of the Silk Road is China, Central Asian countries, Iran, and along it Turkey and Palestine. The creation of the Turan Union can divert the route of the Silk Road from Iran. Also, the existence of a union in the north of Iran will make this country's path to North Asia and Europe more difficult and will make it endure the policies imposed by the upstream countries. In general, the countries of the region may create obstacles to the formation of the Great Silk Road in order to compete on the Great Silk Road. Europe. The formation of power cores will always be a warning for developed and powerful countries or other unions. The reasons that make Europe worry about this are affiliation with the OTS Union. European countries believe that the formation of such a union with such a land area and considering the passage of the Silk Road, energy resources, etc., can make them dependent. For example, due to the strained relations between Europe and Russia, which is one of the most important suppliers of gas to this continent, Europe's dependence on gas sources will increase, especially in Kazakhstan and Azerbaijan, which will be an objective example. Reducing the influence of the European Union on the countries of Central Asia. Similar to the reason we mentioned about Russia, the European Union is also concerned about reducing its influence over Central Asia. With the geopolitical, political and economic alignment between Turkish countries, the sphere of influence of other countries on these regions will decrease. For example, it can be said that when the European Union divides the Turkish countries in the approaches of tariffs and logistics of the transport route, transit cargo, it finds it easier to manage and put pressure on those countries to apply costs and policies for the benefit of Europe. However, as a powerful union, Europe can have mutually beneficial cooperation with Turan by taking steps. In this video, we had a brief look at the formation of the Union of Turkic States. Now the question arises whether in the future we will witness the joining of these countries and the creation of a union like Europe, or whether such an idea will gradually fade away. Leave a comment below and let me know what you think. At the end, please subscribe to our channel for more great content. Thanks for watching.